Hello, welcome to the Mark Atwood Show. Today I wanted to talk about the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a tiny gland inside of your head, and it has very, very special properties, and it has, I believe, something fundamental to do with this plandemic. And the reason I'm making this video is because a very good friend of mine put up a post on Facebook this morning in response to a meme that's been going around, and the meme contains pictures of the Pope with a pine cone on top of a staff. It contains pictures of the Eye of Horus, which is a famous image that you'll see in lots of Illuminati pop videos from the Egyptian times, which actually depicts the pineal gland in your head because they understood what it was back then. And it's kind of something that's been hidden from us, generally speaking. One of the reasons it's been hidden is because it's been deactivated in many cases, especially here. Here I am in Ireland, beautiful island, which has possibly the most fluoridated water on Earth, which is something that's always used to puzzle me. And fluoride, which you may be brushing your teeth with, you've been told it's good for your teeth. That's not true. Fluoride is a neurotoxin, but one of the things that it does is it calcifies your pineal gland, which means it doesn't work. The other thing about fluoride you probably didn't know, or you may not have known, is that it was used in the concentration camps to pacify people. So, think about Ireland. Why are they fluoridating the water so much? Well, it pacifies people, makes them obedient, and it calcifies the pineal gland. So what is the pineal gland and why is it so important? Well, when you're a baby, you have a fully functioning pineal gland, and the way I like to describe the pineal gland is it's like your telephone line to God, whatever you think God is, or to the universe. And it's what creates your dreams. It's responsible for your visions. It's responsible for your connection to your higher self. And it allows you to see. It's your third eye. That's why it's called your third eye, because it allows you to see things that you wouldn't ordinarily see. And it also produces DMT, and DMT is dimethyltryptamine, which is the same thing that makes you trip. Although I don't believe in the word hallucination. It makes you trip. It's in LSD, it's in ayahuasca, it's in peyote. I think it's in peyote. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. But it's certainly, and DMT is obviously something that people smoke directly, and it gives you this intense, trip. My own experiences of things like ayahuasca and peyote and DMT is that it shows you, it kind of unlocks things. So you see things that are always, I think, are already there in the spirit world or the other dimensions that are around us all the time. And this is one of the reasons why they don't want you to know about it. That's why it's been hidden in plain sight, which is what they do. But the really dark reason why you should research the pineal gland, Pineal. Some people call it the pineal gland. It's got the word pine in it because it looks like a pine cone, which is why you've got this pine cone symbology everywhere, in every religion. Just go to an old church and look at the pine cones on the fencing even, or if you go inside and look into the stained glass windows, or just look in any of the ancient texts, you'll see pine cones everywhere. Once you know what you're looking for, you see them everywhere. So how does this relate to this plandemic? Well, if you aren't aware, it's a deeply, deeply disturbing fact that there are upwards of 8 million children per year that go missing. And that's a rough estimate. It's according to Charlie Freak, whose channel I think is Freak Sense. You should go and check him out. He says, and I agree with him, that since the Second World War there have been over 1 billion, with a B, children taken, stolen, and used for SRA, which is satanic ritual abuse, which is as dark as it gets. In fact, I believe it does get even darker. And I don't want to go fully into the details of what it is. If you don't believe any of this, then I'm afraid you've got to blocked pineal gland, probably. You need to look into it. You need to look into it, and you need to face up to it. And I think it's really, really important that the human race faces up to the reality of this, because child trafficking is the biggest industry on Earth. The whole planet has been wired for industrial scale child trafficking. It's going to blow the world up when people find out about this in the mainstream, once people really wake up to the reality of this. It's something I've known about for many years. I've been through my own long, dark night of the soul processing this information. As I was abused as a kid, not heavily, but I was abused as a kid. My father was abused as a kid. In fact, you know, most of the people I've ever met have been abused. And that's on the fringes of this, right? Right at the heart of it is this abuse beyond belief, which involves the worst things you could possibly imagine. But at the heart of the whole thing is the pineal gland. And the reason is because these motherfuckers they extract the liquid in the pineal gland from children at the point of death, after torture and worse, because when they're in this point of fear, this really high state of fear, they're producing adrenaline on a you know, off the charts adrenaline. But when it mixes in with the DMT in the pineal gland and the blood, that's what they are extracting. And the demand for that drug, known as adrenochrome, is off the charts. And that's what I think this Plandemic is all about, because it's being used now I believe it's being used as a cover for getting rid of these monsters, right? Monsters in our midst. And that's why you need to look. You don't have to believe everything I'm saying. I'm not telling you to believe what I'm saying. I'm not a guru or anything like that. I'm just telling you that these are the conclusions that I've come to through research, and I heavily recommend that you do the same, because if I'm right, this is going to be exposed. Maybe not all of it, but it's going to be exposed, and it's going to cause mass trauma on a global scale. And we've got to be ready for it, because the human race is going through an evolution, a huge shift. If you're interested in that, you know, the idea of 3D to 5D, 4D, 5D, I believe we are there. We're in this process right now. And I also believe, despite many people telling me that I shouldn't concentrate on this sort of thing, but I believe it's my job to highlight some of the things that I've found, and to just suggest that you go and look into it yourself. You need to understand what the pineal gland is. You need to immediately stop consuming fluoride in any format. You'll find fluoride hidden in water bottles, mineral water bottles. Read the label. If it says fluoride, don't drink it. Get rid of the toothpaste. Make your own toothpaste. Baking soda, turmeric, coconut oil, or go and buy fluoride-free toothpaste. Get rid of the fluoride. It's got to go. Make sure your kids don't have it. It's destroying their pineal gland. It's the most important organ in your body, probably. And I'm reminded of, you know, there are terms that are used through this ascension process, like lifting of the veil. And I've often pondered what that really means. And moving from 3D to 5D, it's too much to talk about in this video on the beach. But if you look into those things, it seems to me that it's all related to the pineal gland. And that's really what this video is about, just a quick one, to discuss it, to bring to your attention what I found. And there's one last thing I want to mention, actually, and that is this. So I've got to get the camera to my arms. I've got to get one of those sticks. I've not got a stick yet. So one of the things that I believe is also important, I'm going to dig into this in future videos, is the concepts of the symbolism. In the first video on this channel, I talked about the sigil of Saturn outside the Masonic Hall in Limerick. Now, these symbols are everywhere. One thing I'd like you to do is go to Google Images and type in corporate logos Saturn, as in the planet Saturn. And you will see, if you dig into it, you will see that we're surrounded with symbolism that represents the planet Saturn. Why? This is the big question. Why? The conclusion I've come to, and I may be wrong, is that our pineal glands are like a projector, but the projector projects the universe based upon the inputs that come into the brain. So the inputs that come into the brain are coming from symbols. So if you're walking around London, for example, one symbol that you cannot avoid is the London Underground symbol. And what does it look like? The planet Saturn. In fact, if you research it, you'll see that this is not a hidden thing. There was an artist in the 1930s that did a whole exhibition about Saturn relating to the London Underground symbol. So, excuse me, if you look into it, you'll find that all the bank logos, Microsoft Explorer, the App Store, they're all based upon the what do you call it, the compass and the thing, which represents a cube, the cube, and the Eye of Sauros in the Lord of the Rings. It's everywhere. These things, the cube, and the cube in particular is interesting, the black cube, because that's a 3D representation of a hexagon. And then you've got the eye, the great eye, above the pyramid on the $1 bill. You've got the great eye of Sauron in the Lord of the Rings. You've got the eye, CBS's logo is a great eye, is an eye. And why is that? Well, because the planet Saturn has two storms on it. There's a storm on the top, which is in the shape of an eye, and a storm on the bottom in the shape of a hexagon. They're both billions of years old. You can fit 4 planet Earths inside each storm, I believe. They're that big. I might have got it wrong. It might be the other way around, top and the bottom. But look into it. Have a look into it. And then ask yourself, why? Why? Why are these symbols all around us? And the reason they're there is because the symbols emit a frequency, right? And Tesla said that if you want to think about the world, you have to think, or the universe, you have to think of it in terms of frequency. You and I are frequency. In the beginning was the Word. The Word is frequency. Me talking to you now is frequency. So the frequency comes into our heads, and then we decode it through the pineal gland and project this reality, which is why I said in the first video that reality is not what we think it is. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Trump said in his first press conference, or one of his early press conferences, well, after this virus is through, it's going to be like a burst of light. A burst of light. He repeated it twice, and it stuck with me because I believe he knows exactly what's going on. I'm not saying he's our saviour. I'm not saying he's even a nice man. I'm saying he knows what's going on, and he talks in 5D. And those are the things that we've got to tune into if we're going to make it through this and make it through the other side, because the alternative is this New World Order. And the New World Order involves killing 6.5 billion people. Look it up on the Georgia Guidestones. Just look it up. That's how many of us they want dead. That's you and me. That's our family. Gone. And the way that they would achieve this is through our acquiescence, through our subjugation, through our belief in the mainstream media, which is their biggest tool, the mind control tool. It actually goes far, far deeper than that. I saw a video the other day of a whistleblower. There's a film actually out just now called Shadowgate. I've not watched all of it, but go and look up Shadowgate. The people who made it got arrested literally 36 hours ago on trumped up charges, but the video made it online. Shadowgate is not as esoteric as the stuff I'm talking about, but it does talk about these whistleblowers from the NSA talking about the fact that they have these algorithms that can manipulate the minds of people just based upon your behaviors online, which is not, I've been in digital marketing for 25 years. This is not a big leap, of the imagination to believe that they can do this. And that means you and I are under mind control. MK Ultra, look up MK Ultra. This is all part of it. It's all part of it. MK Ultra has been going as a very well-known mind control program. It's been going on for 70, 80, maybe longer years. Look it up. Start wising up. Get rid of the fluoride. Purify your water. Eat only organic food. Meditate. Pray. Do whatever it takes to raise your vibrational frequency. But for God's sake, do the research into things like the pineal gland and the symbolism, because it's part of your awakening process. It's part of all of us awakening. And then share your knowledge, right? Because it's really, really important. So from this stunning, if a little cloudy beach, I wish you farewell, and I'll see you soon.